The amen effect. First of all, taking a movable mic away from a rabbi is like taking one of my superpowers. So I'm going to try to talk to you while standing still here, but this is not in my rabbinic training. So I think I want to start by sharing with you a story of the way that this idea has landed over the course of the past couple of months, and then I'll backtrack and tell you about the big idea. I, several months ago, was traveling shortly after the launch of the book, and I received a call from a colleague of mine at Ikar, who was crying as she spoke on the phone at length about an encounter that she had just had at her pottery studio. She was seated across the way from a stranger, and she was listening to my book on her AirPods. And they smiled at each other and then went back to their work at the studio, as one does. But because she's listening to this book, which ultimately and fundamentally is about the power of human connection, she made the decision to take her AirPods out and actually begin to engage this stranger in conversation. And when she did, they started to talk about their lives, and she asked him if he had any children, and he said that he had 3 children. The 2 boys were 30 and 32. He then got up and walked over to the sink and got more water for his pottery. And my colleague was sitting at her wheel with a dilemma because she understood full well what he had done. He had hinted to her in no uncertain terms that he had 3 children, and then he told her about 2 of them. And so she gathered up all of her courage and countered her instincts and approached the man, and she said, "Do you mind if I ask you a question? It sounds to me like you lost a child. Do you want to talk about it?" And with tears in his eyes, he said, "I really do. Thank you." He said, "Just 2 years ago, my daughter died by suicide." And he said, "The hardest part of losing a child this way is that nobody wants to talk about it." And my colleague Beth said, "Well, I want to talk about it." And the 2 of them sat down, 2 strangers in a pottery studio in Los Angeles, and they talked for an hour about his daughter. And he shared with Beth a picture that he had taken with his daughter the morning that she died, when they went out on a beautiful bike ride together. And he said he had been grappling for the last 2 years how it could be that someone who was this much in love with life could feel that she needed to die by the end of the day. But he had had no partner in grappling with that question until Beth asked him. So she called me and she said, "I just want to thank you, because there was no part of me that wanted to go have that hard conversation with him. And I know it made a difference for him, but I also know that it made a difference for me." So this is the amen effect.